Just tell me a bit about your career and how you got into doing what you do.
When I finished school, I completed a Bachelor of Arts and I became very good at waitressing. And then after that, I worked in several retail jobs and basically saved to go overseas, where I spent several good years with girlfriends, met my future husband over there, and came back and then did my dip ed in early childhood, and then I applied for the job at Xavier as the kindergarten assistant. So I was doing that 3 days a week, and then the other 2 days a week I was doing relief teaching at other centres. And then the position of the kindergarten teacher came up, and I applied for that the year after and got it. And 12 years later, here I am.
12 years later, wow. So why do you do what you do?
I love the age group. It's exhausting, but the children are just amazing and beautiful, and they've just got an air of wonder about them, which I absolutely love.
What most surprised you about having a baby as a working mother?
I think some people's responses on hearing that I was going back to work full time, especially women, you'd get comments like, oh, that's going to be tricky, do you think you can do it? Or how are you going to feel about leaving your daughter in childcare full time? And you know it's going to be hard work, but I just think you need support. I think it would be easy to hear them say, oh, good luck, I wish you the best, rather than question your ability on how you're going to do it. And first time round, maybe I had expected it would have been a little bit easier. Second time round, I know what it's like, and I think you just put your head down and get on with it.
Do you ever contemplate not going back to work?
For me, before I had my daughter, it was never entered my mind. It was always going to be that, no, I'll definitely return. I think for me, I've always worked either in a part-time or casual role since I was 15. So it's always been a very strong part of my life, my parents' life. After having her and just realising the changes that happen every day and what I'd be missing, and the fact that someone else would be sharing those moments, I think made it very, very hard. And that had nothing to do with work. That was just about missing out on my daughter's developing.
Looking back now, how has your world changed really, the different ways that you managed number one child compared to number two?
I think with number two, I've learnt to not hold on to as much, and I've definitely let go from my daughter. I think when you're first time round, you want to be that person that does everything, and it's just not possible. You just absolutely exhaust yourself, and you need to let other people help out and take care and do their role.
And what about to people who make judgments about putting children into childcare full time? What do you say to them? How have you dealt with those people?
Look, I think that's my decision. So when people question that, I think that's not their right. It's my choice to do what I do. I know that my children are healthy, happy, and are being cared for, and I'm happy with my choice of childcare.
What makes it easier?
Having great people to work with. I think if you've had a pretty sleepless night, getting to work and just being able to laugh, share a joke with friends is really good. Having great support from my husband. He does a lot of the picking up from childcare, which is really good, and it's good for him to see that side of it, because I think with my daughter, because the childcare was close to home, I was solely responsible for that, and that was part of me not letting go as well. So I think with the second time round, I've relinquished a lot more, and he's involved a bit more too, which is good.
Tell us a bit about mother's guilt. Is it your own personal separation anxiety? Is it mother's guilt? And how do you manage it?
Look, I think with my daughter, because it took her a little while for her to settle into childcare, it was more about me leaving her. I found that really hard. Several months crying to work after dropping her off, and then after realising that she's fine in quality care, I think you get on and it just subsides. Of course, you still miss them terribly, but you know the cuddle when you pick them up is well worthwhile.
And was it easier second time round?
Definitely. I think you know that they're going to settle, you know the carers are doing a fantastic job. I think for me the main thing is responsive carers. So you might be in a childcare centre that may not look the best from outside, but for anyone who's looking for childcare, I'd advise them to go and visit a centre. You can get a feel straight away if the carers are responsive to the babies or children, if there's children's artworks on the walls, how they're speaking to the children, how they're interacting with the children. Basically, that is the best way to choose a childcare.
You've got a son and a daughter. What sort of role model do you want to be for them? What do you want them to take out of this whole experience?
Look, I think having a mum who's a working mum, my daughter understands that, being a little bit older than my son. She understands why I go to work and that I help children, and also having her next door, she sees me and I get to sneak the occasional cuddle, which is lovely. So I want to be a strong woman, someone who's independent, and also someone who's there for her as well.
What would having it all look like for you?
For me, a happy, balanced family life, a clean house, an endlessly supplied fridge, and sunny days.